Well, I'd like to welcome Brad Hudson with us today. He is, of course, the CEO of Village Management Services. And Brad, we're going to talk about a lot of exciting things. We've had a fantastic year. The year's not over yet. We're going to sort of look back and see all the things that have been done and talk about the future a little bit. All the boards just recently had their budget meetings, so that was sort of set the tone for what's to come as well. So welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here today.
It's been a long time since I've been on with you.
Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and yeah, I do want to thank certainly all our residents and advisors, committee members, board members who've worked so hard over the last several months to develop this budget. And while it won't be approved until September, right, we pretty much have it framed out, and so I can certainly be in a position today to share some pretty good news with residents.
All right, fantastic. So the first thing I know you want to talk about were assessments and reserves.
Yeah, I got some slides here I was going to click onto here. So, you know, you always hear residents, they're very concerned about assessment levels, right, as our board members, and I am too. We want to keep assessments down, keep the community affordable. And here you can kind of see the assessment levels for third. They're pretty flat over a number of years.
Yeah, they have been.
Mostly, you know, 1%, sometimes less, sometimes a little more, but very flat for our residents. Same thing's really for United. Assessments have been very flat. We've stayed well below the consumer price index, and I think residents can appreciate that the board members, staff are very cognizant of their concerns about assessment levels and are responsive in setting these levels. And then I also wanted to hit GRF as well. You can see GRF is actually lower for 2019 than it was in 2007.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so their assessments tend to vary a little more than the housing mutuals, but it's at a fairly low level. I think residents can be pleased that the boards are watching how much they assess residents and really don't do that without great thought and interaction and input from the community.
Now they vary a little bit more just simply because of the community-wide projects.
Yeah, I think that housing mutual projects are usually done through a program like dry rot or your waistline epoxy, and it's more predictable year after year. I think sometimes GRF has wider swings in the kind of expenses they have to incur, because some of their facilities are quite expensive. And it's not really a program, it's a project.
Yeah.
So that's different. And then I always hear from certain residents that they're so glad that we're fixing things up that have been neglected for many, many years, but they're concerned that we're eating through all the reserves. And so this slide here shows, well, not really. We're making all these improvements and building reserves at the same time. And so you can see our reserves are higher than they've been at any time, at least back to 2009.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we're doing all these projects that I'm going to show in a little bit. So I think that's another good news item. Yes, we're keeping assessments down, and we're also building reserves up.
Yeah, important for both.
Right. And then I wanted to hit too, I think this is just sort of a great news story, and I was deeply involved, actually did this a couple years ago, and we're just now seeing the benefits. But we reallocated some of our costs to more accurately reflect some of our more profitable operations in GRF, and so we were able to reduce our tax exposure by $400,000
That's
a year.
amazing. Yeah.
And so that $400,000 is some of the money that's been plowed into getting these projects done. And so very pleased with that. Doesn't get much better than that unless you take a look at this, which is
the year-end average resale
price.
This is wonderful.
This is third right here, and you can see that values are going way up. And then further, here we go. Here's United Mutual, which is even more impressive. So I guess that's sort of the good news story is, okay, assessments are flat, reserves are up, we're paying less taxes, and your house, which is probably for most people their biggest investment, is worth more, maybe than ever before.
All right, come on over to our property where I live, and you get our taxes down.
So, I mean, I think that's really good news right there, but I think it gets better in that there's been decades of deferred maintenance here.
Yes,
we all know that. and now we're addressing it. So I wanted to hit, well, some service items first, but also some project stuff. But I wanted to hit, this is the most important thing we do. We protect our residents. And so I wanted to hit some of our efforts that we've been making. And a lot of this, much of it, is very board driven, particularly in compliance cases. We have a lot of rules here. Most of them weren't being enforced until really 2016. And you can see here the number of compliance cases has gone. 2015, the last year of PCM, 1,400 cases. Now in 2017, almost 5,000 compliance cases. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of violations being corrected. That's a lot of neighborhood problems resolved. And I think the boards can be very proud of that statistic. Here's another one here, and this gets mixed reviews from residents, but moving violations, we're not talking, we don't really write people up for 5 miles over the speed limit. These are 16 miles an hour and above over the speed limit. And you can see in the last several years we've been doing a great amount of enforcement.
And that's
of our
a lot,
speed
16 miles an hour above in a community.
That's 41 miles an hour
that's
here.
A lot,
That's going fast. And I have another slide, but I didn't put it in here. But what it shows is that the number of traffic accidents has gone down.
Great news.
And so enforcement, there's a reason they do this. It's because it protects us and makes us safer. So we're doing a lot. You know, we're investing a lot in enforcement, both in compliance and in security, but we're also putting some resources into social services. A lot of times people have compliance issues because they have some other problem. And maybe it's dementia, maybe they have a hoarding problem, maybe there's some drug or alcohol abuse, other things that are causing them to come to our notice. And so we want to make sure we have social services in place to assist them. And we've got a great new team in place there at Social Services and some new partners. We're going to bring 4 new social workers into the community at no cost to residents.
Wow.
We've got some county grants coming in. We've got some sponsored social workers. So we're looking to enhance these services without hitting the resident's pocketbook. And so I think they can be rest assured that if they need us, we'll have the resources to be there for them, and it won't cost them too much.
And one of our best programs, I think, this community has to offer.
It's super.
Yeah, it really is.
So, you know, I could talk about this forever, but the gate arm technology is one of the best things we can do for security and protecting our residents. And I think when residents see this, they're going, oh, well, there's the gate arm. Well, the gate arm is probably the simplest piece of this. There's like 9 cameras associated with this. There's all kinds of computer analytics. There is license plate reading technology. A lot of things go into this to make this a really powerful public safety tool. And we're going to do 9 of these in the next probably 6 months. And so maybe less. And so we'll be starting very shortly, and we're very pleased to bring this to the community. I know we've talked about it for a long time. I love this. This is the forest that used to be along Ridge Route. It's kind of gone now. And this is awful pretty. My God, why would anybody do anything to that beautiful forest? Well, here's why. Because that's what's behind it. And you can see some of the garbage and transients and a pretty low fence there. And here's what it looks like now. And
what a difference,
We have removed that material, particularly vegetative material, all that trash that was behind there, and now we've got that exposed, and we're going to put this there. And we're going to stop, this is the gate 5-6 area along Ridge Route, and we are going to stop folks from getting over that fence. And so here's what we're going to do. About a half a mile worth of this. We've increased security patrols in the area. We have the gates already in place at 5-6. We're really looking to secure the community, and this is really the first of many of these that we'll be doing. Here's something else that, again, you know, all the forest fires in California, it's scary as heck. And we've had some right here that we can see from our village, and then right in our own backyard, we had this going on. And I know I've heard from residents, you know, you guys don't take care of the slopes. Well, the slopes in 3rd haven't been done for 7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
And so a lot of fuel there.
The board said, hey, take care of this. And so that's what we're doing. And so you'll see how dense this is. And then now it kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
We just have to have that fire break between the wilderness area preserve and our community, and so there's a number of these. Here's another one.
It's a very good example.
We're just trying to protect the community. This is going on right now, and will be going on for the next several months. So if you hear a little extra work out on your slope, just know that we're trying to protect you, and please be patient, and we'll try to be as considerate as we can.
And of course, you're working with the Orange County Fire Authority with this. And
absolutely. We're partners in public safety on this one.
What a difference.
I love this, and this could have gone in a couple of sections, but we've added these mobile computers into our security vehicles. In the past, our officers were blind out in the field, and they're showing up to a manor. They don't know who lives there, what's the history of violations, any of that stuff going on. Now with this technology, that information is at their fingertips. And so it's a totally different response. And in the past, they've had to come back to the office and do reports. Right. Very inefficient. Now when they leave the office, they stay out until their shift is over, giving more visibility, a better presence in the community, and increasing efficiency greatly. So we're really thrilled about this effort. And then I just got, who is that guy?
I don't know.
That would be, that's Tim Moy, our Chief of Security, and we just received a nice award for our disaster preparedness plan, which is very good. I just had lunch yesterday with our disaster preparedness building captains.
Yeah, very important.
And about 200 of them. And we are really moving forward aggressively. And I know the ward and the plan is nice. What you don't see here is all the concrete steps we're taking behind the scenes to make sure that we can take care of ourselves at least for a while should a disaster hit the community. So it's a big effort. There's a lot of board members involved, a lot of residents involved, hundreds of residents. So it's truly a community activity, and I want to thank all those volunteers who give of their time so the rest of the community can be protected in case of a disaster.
Yeah, I just want to add, because I know you have mentioned it, so has Tim Moy and others, you know, join the building captains. They're looking for several more. I understand maybe 100 or 200 more they'd like to have. So, you know, contact disaster preparedness downstairs, or just talk to one of the board members, or go online and find out information. But you're needed.
Yeah, please. Particularly if you have any kind of medical experience, we're really looking for retired doctors and nurses and medics and others who might be able to provide critical medical aid in the event of a disaster or other event that would befall our community. Well, I'm going to jump into, again, this is kind of the projects phase of this report, and here probably one of the more important programs we do is this waistline epoxy program, and you can see how much this is ramped up over the years, and next year's really a big year. This is one of the most devastating things that can happen to you in your manor. You know, is to have a big backup, have to be out of your manor for an extended period of time while we do cleanup and dry down and maybe replace interior features. And you really want to encourage everyone to please get an HO6 insurance policy. You should have insurance, because the mutual won't fix or repair everything that happens in there. Much of it is the responsibility of the resident, and so if you have that insurance, it'll be covered. But we are pumping this program up dramatically. I would have a couple of pics here. Here's kind of a waistline before and then after. You can see this one. This is a really good one here. Look how small that line has become from years of buildup and corrosion, and then after it's cleaned out and relined,
that's amazing that they can do that.
It is amazing. This is a fairly recent technology that allows us to do this really very efficiently. It is very disruptive. I know we've had a couple of cases where residents weren't too excited about the process, and so I've directed staff to provide some additional sort of meetings and education on this, because when these folks come to your building, it's pretty disruptive. And it only lasts for a few days, but it's not pleasant while they're there, and I just think residents need to know what they're getting into. But at the end of the day, would you rather be inconvenienced for a day or two, or have a big waste backup in your manor? So I know I appreciate residents putting up with us as we go through this. Here's another one. I know in United we're doing these Pushmatic panel replacements. Again, old, out of date, out of code electric panels. You can see how we've ramped this up. Virtually everything looks like these graphs. And so here, this is a nice new panel. Dry rot program expenditures, again, very high. We're very aggressive. The programs are different in United and Third. In United, most of the problems are exterior wood. And the past practice has been, oh, we'll just put a little wood putty on it and paint it. But that still leaves the organisms in there that cause the dry rot. And so what we're doing now is we remove all that material and either put a non-wood or a treated wood replacement on there and then paint it and seal it real good just to end the problem. So in Third, you tend to get some more larger buildings, larger beams, and it's a more extensive and difficult problem to solve. I've got some pictures of that. Now this is, I have to tell the story behind this, but I have to be quick. I know we're short of time. I was at Clubhouse 4 at the drop-in lounge talking to a couple of residents about the dry rot, and I looked up at this beam and I said, you know, I think there might even be some dry rot on this beam. And I reached up and swatted it and knocked that piece of wood off there and across the parking lot.
You sure you weren't eating your Wheaties?
No, I was right, 4 residents right there with me. They went, oh my God, you got to fix this. And we did. We came back and redid all of Clubhouse 4 and got that squared away. But that's interesting. This is kind of the third problem you see here with this. These structural components that are big, they have a lot of dry rot, and then there's the after. And then same thing here, you get a lot of structural components in the interior of the building that are difficult to get at. And then here we had a bridge that we had to repair. And then here, you probably notice those wood cannons that stick out the sides of the building. It's an interesting architectural feature, but it also provides a perfect entryway for some of these organisms to create dry rot within the building. And so we've been going through and systematically removing them and then just sealing over and painting the area, and you can see that going on. This is a great program here. You know, we used to do these built-up tar and rock roofs, and they don't last but 10 or 15 years. They're very hot because they're black, basically. And so we're replacing those with these roofs that last at least 20 years, probably 25 or 30, and they're solar reflective. And so they are a cool roof. And so we're doing a lot of these. Huge upgrade for the community, lasts longer, and saves on the electric bill. Yeah, that's good. Nice. And then, of course, everybody knows about the giant solar projects that we did. This happens to be Third right here. A wonderful program. And again, I thank the residents in these buildings because I know it was awfully inconvenient, and they were quite tolerant of our noise.
In the long run, how the benefit.
And these were on carports in United. Again, inconvenient, a different kind of inconvenience, but inconvenience just the same for our residents. And again, I reach out to the United residents, say thanks for putting up with this, but in the long run, it'll pay big dividends for our community. You know, we just added our first EV charging station here at the community center, and we're studying right now many more locations. We are seeing a great uptick in the number of electric vehicles that residents are purchasing, and the old infrastructure that we currently have won't really support that. And so we've got to upgrade, we've got to add these charging stations, and we're committed to do that.
And so many more electric vehicles are going to be out soon. So
we're doing a lot more here. We've kind of changed our program a little bit. We're doing a lot of concrete work with the seal coat and asphalt program. So here what you see is we redid some asphalt, but we also, while we were at it, redid the ribbon gutter there to make for a complete and finished project instead of only doing the bare minimum and skating by and leaving an inadequate gutter there for residents to trip over and look at. You know, signs are another big thing we're doing. These big new signs are quite good. We're also looking at cul-de-sac signs. Our signs, many of them are really old, and they don't use the newest technology for reflectivity. And so at night, you can't find your way around here. Try to find a cul-de-sac.
Small signs, not reflective.
So we're changing all that. We've got a couple of sign experts on staff, and so we're going through that. I'm not one of them, but I've got them. You know, I've got 2 people who've actually run major sign shops for big public works departments, and so we're looking at all of our signs and helping residents find things day or night. Another big improvement, changing these walkway lights, which have historically been the pagoda lights. They're very low. They don't put out any light. And so now we've raised them up a little bit, switched to LED technology. You can see you get a lot better throw on these lights, and we need to add more. We know that.
Yeah.
And I love this one. The Third Board recently entered into an agreement to purchase all of the street lights in Third. Right now they're owned by SCE, and then we pay a fee to have them operate. And so they're not highly motivated to fix burnout street lights, as our residents note. They probably think it's us. It's not us.
Yeah.
It's Edison. It will be us in about a year. And so Third's acquiring these. We're going to put LED heads on them that provide much more light. And we're going to maintain them properly so they're always working for our residents. And the return on investment here is pretty good.
Yeah, and I also understand, we had Bill Walsh on the other day, talked about a lot of these street lights are covered with foliage.
Yeah.
So trees have grown over them, so in the long run, this is just going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more. The Third residents are going to love this.
Yeah.
I've been involved in many of these projects over the years, and this is going to be a big upgrade. You know, and we had a couple of these oddball little niches around the community, and so we did a little pilot project and created some golf cart parking. You know, parking is a big problem.
Yeah.
And so it worked so well, and it was pretty cost effective, and so I think we've put another 20 of these in the budget for next year, and so just little things to look at. Here's what I was talking about. On the left is sort of an example of what our signs have kind of looked like around here, and then on the right is sort of what we're going to is more of a highly reflective, properly installed sign. An interesting project here. These recessed areas in the breezeways of the garden villas had peculiar design elements that really encouraged water to intrude into the building, and were high maintenance as well. And so we sealed a lot of that up and filled in the recessed areas with lightweight concrete and protected the building better. We did, I think, 3 of these, and it turned out really well. We're going to do a few more, I think, for next year, but a really good project. You know, Lynn Jarrett, who's the Gardenville Association president, said at a recent meeting, you know, more happened in Garden Villas in the last year than in the last 10 years. I suspect she knows. Yeah. I don't know, but she does.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
And we have been working very hard to catch up, and it's everything. It's lobbies, it's mail rooms, it's everything. Laundries. We're just trying to catch up on decades of deferred maintenance in Garden Villas, and we're not there yet. But we've got a good team, and we've got a lot of supported building captains in the Garden Villa Association, so I'm pretty proud of what we've accomplished there.
This is a great program.
Hey, this has worked out really good. Couple of things. We've got about 225 residents who signed up for this program. I think the cost is $200 a year for a number of visits, and they come out and take care of any number of things for you. And if you're interested, please contact Resident Services. But one of the things we're trying to do, and I'm bleeding into technology here, is to get away from all the paper-based systems that we have here. They're very inefficient. They cause a lot of errors. Residents' work orders get lost. It's horrible. This is the first program that from start to finish is paperless. And so we're spreading that out to other work centers now. It is the model for everything else we're going to do here in the community. And so I'm very pleased with not only how the program is functioning, but also that we did it in a tech-savvy and efficient way. Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. Again, as I said earlier, it's been about 7 years since any slope work's been done in Third. The board's directed us, hey, take care of these slopes, and so we are on it. So we have the brush clearance that you saw earlier. We'll be going on and doing some more aesthetic work and planting and other things later, but we did this Gate 9 improvement recently, and it's just a sign of things to come for Third Mutual. And then here's a nice water efficient landscaping project we did in Cul-de-sac 8 in United. We're doing, probably noticed it at some of the gatehouses, we're doing some drought tolerant, and we're doing a lot of it in Third as well. So this is just a trend you're going to see. Places where grass doesn't want to go, we should probably stop trying to make it grow.
I agree.
Reseeding
and this looks really nice.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
But there's a history of just seeding and watering and seeding and watering in areas that just will not support turf, and we've got to stop it.
Yeah.
Here's some other interest. That was more about your manners and what we're doing in your neighborhood. This is more about GRF projects. We have done so much work at these garden centers, both in terms of physical improvements, They look really nice and are greatly improved. When I first got here and I drove along Moulton and saw that garden center over, I thought it was a homeless encampment. It looks a lot better now. They both look a lot better. And also we've done a lot to improve how we operate them as well. So it's a big improvement. I hope our gardeners appreciate that. We have another big improvement coming to Garden Center 1, which is kind of a gathering area with some seating and shade. I think that'll be well received as well. Nice. And then, you know, here again, this is something, this lawn bowling facility was redone about 6 years ago. And the previous management company picked a firm that had never built one of these before. And what we got is something that you couldn't use. It was not flat. And so we brought in, there's really about 2 companies in the world that do this. And so we brought one of them in, the top people, and they came in here. They were here for a month or so, and they left us a beautiful facility.
It looks really nice.
They really did an outstanding job. And so that's kind of the model of how we want to handle these things. Let's not test out a contractor in his first endeavor in a complicated project like this. Let's hire somebody that knows what they're doing. I love this because these shuffleboard courts have been abandoned probably for 20 or 30 years. And we recently demoed them, and right now there is a park under construction. There's what it looks like now. And so this is right next to Clubhouse 2, where we do a lot of events and we run short on space. And so this will be additional space for those big events like the 4th of July or Woodstock, or you can name the event. There's so many wonderful ones that happen there. But this will be great space for that. It's going to have a couple picnic tables, so if you want to come and have a little picnic, you could do that too. So again, it's kind of an interim use. There's an anticipation that perhaps sometime down the road that something else could happen there, but for now, this is a wonderful interim use. And I had to talk about this because we've had so many problems, particularly with the pool at Clubhouse 4, which was slated for replaster, but when we got the plaster off, we saw that the underlayment, the structural components were failing. And so we had to do a major project here. And so we've done a couple of these pools, and they're always a lot worse than you think. You know, it seems okay just looking at them, but then when you start peeling stuff away, you find out, oh my gosh, there's a big job here. So I apologize for residents who maybe had to stay away from pool 4 a little bit longer than they wanted to, but we got it fixed, and I think we got it fixed right. It's going to last for decades, decades to come. This is great too. This is pool solar, probably the best investment you can ever make. The return on investment is about a year on these pool solar devices, and so we were going to put 3 or 4 of them in, but there were some technical problems. So we ended up putting, I know we put them at 5 and at 4, and it's just been wonderful. We can keep those high temperatures that residents like, but not break the bank at the same time. Very good. So that's worked out well. We've added a lot of cool furniture. This is a project that's been beating around for like 8 years. And we finally came up with a really nice solution of redeveloping the existing courts with 7 courts and lights and a nice gathering area and at a reasonable price that residents could support. And so I'm pleased that we could get this done. This will start construction shortly. And I was just in this room yesterday, and I just wanted to show this picture because it's so beautiful in Clubhouse 2. And I know the project, you know, you can argue it either way. I'm happy with the final product, and I think
it looks very nice over there.
Residents should enjoy it. And then there's a lot going on at the golf course, but you can't see any of it. All of the infrastructure, the valves and the sprinkler heads, all that stuff, they're like 30 and 40 years old. They're failing. And you can see by the quality of the course, because the water is not distributed evenly and you get uneven play. And so we've done a lot of the valves already. We're getting ready to do, I think I put 900 sprinkler heads in the budget. They're expensive. These aren't like sprinklers in your yard. These are big, expensive sprinklers of a commercial variety, and so they've got to be changed. You can't go on forever. And then we've also got some changes coming for the driving range there, which is, if you're a golfer, it's completely dysfunctional.
We can see it out the window here.
So that's coming on. And then we just recently made some improvements to Village Green and the Restaurant 19. So things going on there. And I'm really proud of this. We've done about 8 of these gatehouse renovations. The prior practice was much like what we did at Clubhouse, Gate 7, where we spent $1 million to build that gate. It cost $25,000 to do each one of these. So for $200,000, we did 8 gatehouses, which probably would have cost somewhere between $5 and $7 million.
Yeah,
so
that's incredible.
It's an incredible savings, and I think they actually look better. They have a historic feel. They're more reflective of our community. So I'm pretty proud of that. You know, this used to be, believe it or not, this is where we kept a couple of lawnmowers.
Yeah, I remember
and so I had them build a little tin shed out back to move the lawnmowers in, and we just put a door on here and turned this into a little clubhouse for the par 3 course. And so it really turned out nice. We're proud of that. And then here we did the starter building. It was just a mess. And so, again, not an expensive thing. Just went in and added some cabinetry and some paint and carpet, and it looks, and new windows. It looks really nice. We've done a lot of HVAC and cool roof project. We did one at Clubhouse 5. We did, this happens to be the Historical Society here that we just did. So roofs and HVAC, air conditioning units, have been a big deal, and we're doing them all. We're doing every one of them. For next year, the Community Center and the Performing Arts Center are slated for roof and HVAC. So just so you know.
Right. I'm looking forward to the community center.
Yeah, it's really needed. You know, this is one of my favorites. I've been working on this since I got here, and you know, I'm not a potter, so I don't know too much about this, other than I know a pretty bad kiln when I see one, and we had some pretty bad ones, and they're kind of hard to get and custom made, and so they finally arrived. They're installed. We had to redo the roof on the building they're in, as well as the exhaust. And so that's just about completed now. And so I'm happy that we were able to bring that to residents, because we have a very vibrant arts community here, and I certainly want to do everything I can to support that.
Good.
And then here's another one that's been going on for 8 years, is air conditioning in the wood shop. You know, should you have it, don't have it, yes, let's have it, you can't have it, well, we got it. It's in, done, next. This is great too. I had a resident call me shortly after I got here and said, you know, the lanes are messed up leaving at gate 5. You need to have a dedicated right turn. And so I went out there and drove it a couple times, and sure enough, he was right. The lanes were messed up, and so I had Ernesto go out and take a look, and he took care of that. And so we have the dedicated right, the one through lane and left, and then a left on both ends. And so this thing works so much better. Great
far more
improvement.
efficient.
And the city was very helpful in putting the signs up and making the signals work right. I've shown this before. Just some of the neglect you see over time. You know, if you're used to seeing something that's broken every day, pretty soon it doesn't look broken. But as a new person here, these things jump out at me. And so this used to look like that, and now it looks like that.
Yeah, very nice.
So things like that. Again, we're going through a lot of our meeting rooms, and we're finding that I think a lot of them were made for people to cook and eat in, and so they had a lot of hard surface floorings, which made the acoustics really bad. They're almost not usable. And I think the dining rooms at the Performing Arts Center would fit in that category too. And so we've been going back and adding carpet and some other acoustic features, because they use them more for musical instruments, for meetings.
And what an improvement on
Yes, it's incredible. So we're doing a lot of that. We just added this room. This is the old billiards room at Clubhouse 5 that no one was using. And so we converted it to a fitness room. Here you see we have a cycle class that goes on there, but there is everything from Pilates to yoga to all kinds of fitness activities. I want to say there's something like 40 or 50 classes over there. It's incredible.
Getting a lot of use now.
This room is getting a ton of use. We've put a lot of emphasis on fitness. When we did our survey a year or so ago, #1 activity, you can put golf, tennis, pickleball all together, and it has far fewer users than fitness. And so here you go. We reinstituted the fitness center at Clubhouse 5. This is sort of a self-service fitness center. And then the big fitness center down here. We also have a project, and it's funded, to do the fitness center at Clubhouse 1. But we're going to wait until we complete the building assessment to make sure that we're not investing in something that really maybe should be torn down or remodeled in a more extreme way. So when we get that assessment done, we'll know how to move forward with the fitness center at Clubhouse 1.
It'll be nice over there too.
Here we did some work at the bridge room in the kitchen and provided a kind of eating area there. Of course, the boardroom. This facility is used extensively. Most of the committee meetings happen here now. We can record and televise them if we want. I know we're now showing the M&C meetings on TV. We're going to show some more. So what a huge asset for our community. And then I know there's a meeting on Friday about transportation, and it's an important subject. Transportation has changed in our country. People's tastes have changed, and so we have to change with it. And part of that is providing vehicles that are efficient, non-polluting, and are sized right for the number of riders we have. And so you're seeing us downsize a bit to these smaller buses, and we're using a lot of vans. We used to use a 24-person bus to take one person to a doctor appointment.
Yeah, not very efficient.
No. Now I take a van like that, and it works perfect, and they love it. So another big thing we're doing, and I have a great communications team here, and they're really ramping it up, is improving how we reach out to residents. So a lot of things, the Friday e-blast, obviously the breeze, which people have seen. All of our programs now have elaborate brochures. Here's one here. We recently did these tree walk brochures in partnership with the History Center. So it's just so much going on. Really classy event flyers to let residents know. Many of our residents, I like to communicate electronically. Many of our residents like to go to the clubhouses and pick up flyers. So we're still providing those, but we're stepping our game up a little bit. We're very active on social media. Our platform is rocking, and if you haven't been on it, please check out our Facebook page, and we're really out there. A lot of calendars we're doing. This happens to be a rec calendar, but we're doing on our website. We have maintenance calendars and all kinds of calendars on there.
Much easier to find things, yeah.
Yeah, and then of course we have Team Up on there for our governance calendar, and then a lot of class flyers. So we're really newsletters. Again, the team has really stepped it up. They're doing a great job. I think when it comes to letting residents know about the big things that are going on to the village, we communicate well. We do a great job. I think where we need to improve, and I'll admit it, is when we're at your doorstep. We need to let you know well in advance, hey, we're going to be doing something and it might disrupt you. And so that's really our focus for the next year, is how can we communicate better with residents about what's happening right outside their door.
Yeah, and that's so important for a lot of folks. Yeah,
and it really is. It's a lot harder than doing this. This is actually pretty easy. If you have the right people and the technology in place, we can get that out. Getting with people in their neighborhood, informing them on what's going on, and then making sure that they understand and they're treated properly. That's trickier, but that's our big focus for next year. And then this thing is wonderful. Granicus is our kind of web-based board meeting management tool. And so you can watch these board meetings live from any place in the world. On Granicus.
Impressive, yeah.
And then if you miss a board meeting, you can go back and watch it on our website. It's all recorded. And you don't have to watch the whole thing. You can just click on the item you're interested in. Why watch an entire 4-hour board meeting when you're interested in a 5-minute section? Just scroll down, find it, boom, watch it. So great tool, and it archives all the agendas and the minutes and all that stuff forever.
Yeah,
it's all right there for you. Very pleased with that as well, and very powerful transparency tool for our residents and boards. And then I was happy to bring this. This is a tool that cities and counties have used for a long time. It's Code Red, and so we can very efficiently and economically reach out to a neighborhood, a mutual, the entire village in case of any kind of event. I think of the kind of events we've used it in. We had a man who disappeared. He had dementia, he wandered off, and we sent a Code Red out. And we didn't find him. As a result of that, he was staying in a hotel in San Juan Capistrano. He turned up a few days later. Apparently, he wasn't quite as bad as we thought he was. Anyway, but that's the kind of thing, if there was a fire, even if you had, the event where we had the recent police action over in United, we notified that community that there was something going on. So it's a very flexible tool, can do a cul-de-sac, can do the whole village, and so we're pleased to have that available for us.
Great tool.
Obviously, a lot going on with Village Television. You've made so many upgrades here, whether it be going to an all-digital system, to adding LED lights up here, to the boardroom, broadcasting from the clubhouses. Both the Performing Arts Center and Clubhouse 5 are fully set to broadcast from those venues. I want to jump into, this is good stuff. I know Chuck's been on here and talked about this many times before, but we have, at virtually no cost to residents, been able to triple internet speeds. Our system, now this had a little cost to it, we've been able to increase the capacity tenfold. And then, as part of our negotiations with West Coast Internet, we were able to have them agree to provide 4,000 free upgraded DOCSIS 3 modems for our residents.
Yeah, very good.
3,000 of those have already been put in place.
Yeah.
So when I arrived here, we had a system designed for 1,000 residents that had 10,000 users on it. And so that was one of the big things I had to turn Chuck loose on is, hey, we got to get these speeds up. I had people calling me at home crying over the weekend that they bought a manor here and they only had 10 megs and they had a business to run or they had things to do. And so this takes care of that problem. We can provide 100 megs to the manor, no problem, and keep it the entire day. It's a huge upgrade. Again, so many broadband improvements, whether it's adding the new satellite dish, fixing all these nodes, upgrading your channel guide, providing a new music feature that's awesome, or adding this awesome TiVo whole home DVR, which I think we have around 300 of those installed now.
Those are nice.
It's very nice. Excellent product. I got a couple of pictures here. There's the dish, and this is kind of what we arrived to find here. You can see this happens to be a telephone box here, but on the left is what they used to look like, and on the right is what they're supposed to look like.
Yeah, much cleaner.
And same thing here. There's your cable connection, before, after, just the way things were done. These are your major infrastructure pieces here in the community, rusty and roddy and falling apart. And here's really, these nodes and vaults are kind of the backbone to your broadband system, and you can see here not in too good a condition. So there's your new guide, which is going to be awesome. Stingray music, and then of course we got rid of these guys. There's still, we'll get a few channels till the end of the year, but the analog TV is a thing of the past, and may it rest in peace. We just added this queuing system down in resident services. Now we know how long you're waiting, what are you waiting for. It's all very, very clear. And so it's been, and how long you're at the counter. And so we can adjust our staffing levels. We can do things to make sure that your experience here is nice, and you don't have to wait in line. We'll call you by name. You can watch TV, have a cookie. We're trying to make your experience here pleasant.
Nice iPads and libraries.
Oh yeah, that's a great upgrade. Residents love that. Very popular feature. And then of course Dwelling Live, which is your online way to get your guests into the community without calling our gate ambassadors and waiting on hold for a long time. So please use Dwelling Live. And then I'm going to close with really our celebration. We do 250 events a year. Added a bunch of new ones. Independence Day, which was a great event.
Farmers Market.
Like Health Expo, our Memorial Day observance. We did a Water Safety Day. We've had, I have to point this out, adding, we've done a lot of training for CPR and life safety here, and including our AEDs. I push strongly to have the AEDs here and for all staff to be trained in CPR. And we've had staff, I think, save 3 or 4 residents now.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's been a huge win. And I do want to thank my partner in crime on this one. Believe it or not, John Beckett and I pushed hard for these AED units, and so I got a shout out to John Beckett. Very good. And then Village Bazaar, Hoedown. I drove a transit bus at this event. Great event. Car show, concerts. I just saw the film of the Woodstock, and it's not one of our events, but what a great event. And then we had disco night last weekend. We had 500 people dancing to disco all night long at Clubhouse 5. And then we added this one in, the Heatwave Movie Marathon, just to take the bite out of some really ridiculously hot weather we had, and we had some Edison blackouts simultaneously, so we didn't have power to a lot of manners. So a lot going on. Obviously, we do our USTA event at the tennis facility, which is world class, and then our Memorial Golf Tournament. VMS has gotten very involved in that, and the Men's Golf Club, and so I think we were able to donate maybe around $40,000 that the Men's Golf Club donated to the foundation this year, and I think they can be very, very proud of that, and I'm proud that they let us participate in that. And then this is one that I kind of kicked into gear here is I love having the art at the community center.
Yeah, some great art.
What an upgrade. Our residents are so talented, and we're lucky to have them here. And then we did an Arbor Day event, which we're going to do every year. It's going to get bigger and bigger, and we're going to plant a tree every year. So with that, let me close it out here.
All right.
You got to love it. Flat assessments, increased reserves, higher property values. We're investing in infrastructure and all of our amenities. Where our programming has gotten very diverse, and we try to have events and programs and other things for residents of all ages and interests. And then lastly, and maybe most importantly, we've got 47 volunteer board members who make all this happen.
Yeah,
and it is
a lot of work.
It is a very difficult job. These folks put in a lot of hours. It's mostly thankless work, though I'm thanking them now on behalf of VMS and our staff, but it's a tough job, and I'm being paid for the tough job I have. They're not being paid, and it's equally tough. So I honor them right now and hope that our residents will support them in their endeavors.
Very good. Hey, thank you for coming on. A lot's been done, a lot's going to be done, and some of it you don't see. It's kind of behind the scenes
underground.
Or under the ground, but a lot you do see, and quite a lot of improvements here, and a good team.
I'd like to come back after the boards have adopted their budgets.
Sure.
I don't want to be presumptive. I think they'll adopt them the way they're there.
Will.
But if, we want to let them adopt and then come back and talk about the work plan for next year.
Sounds good.
What is it we're talking about? And,
all right.
And what can residents expect? And hopefully we'll deliver on that.
Sounds good. Very good. Good to see you, sir.
Ken, thank you.
Thanks for coming up.
My pleasure.
And we'll be right back. Hey Laguna Woods, it's Ken.
And Lisa.
Did you miss an episode of This Day? Not to worry. Head over to youtube.com and search Village Television.
Here you can find each episode of This Day and other community programs such as Good Day OC, Discovering Laguna Woods, and much more.
Just click the red subscribe button, then click the bell to be emailed every time we upload a video.
Don't miss out.
And subscribe today.